En esta travesía lenta, bajo el cielo de estrella, busco un rayo de luna. La noche se vuelve como un eco que llama. Me susurra lo que anhelo, sueño flotan en el viento, luz tenue que me envuelve caminando por senderos, buscando lo que me aferra. Esta historia que resuena dibuja sombra en el suelo. Adiós, soleil, erotina, me pierdo en los cielos, volver resona, cruzan mares y caminos, los recuerdos me abran.
So let's go from Bogotá to Punta Cana.
This beautiful tropical island is located in the middle of the Caribbean Sea. Hispaniola, divided into two countries. On the west side is the unstable and dangerous Haiti, while on the east side is the paradise for tourists, the beautiful Dominican Republic. The Dominican Republic occupies 2/3 of the island. The official language is Spanish, unlike the Haitian part where a broken version of French is spoken. A little over 11 million people live in the Dominican Republic. The people who live there are a mixture of whites, blacks, and natives. At first glance they look like mulattoes, or Latino blacks, harmoniously built and beautiful people. This country is also called the homeland of the merengue, a Caribbean dance that spread throughout Latin America and beyond. The climate is tropical, the food is delicious and the sea is clean.
My first impression upon landing was, wow! How many coconut palms they have! How warm, green and blue it is! I kept looking at the face of my wife, who I called Chocolatita. I was convinced that I had chosen the country according to her wish, but I could not read anything on that cold Japanese face. I'm not a fan of airports, but this one was very tastefully built. A beautiful little tropical airport, without crowds under the typical leafy roof.
Be prepared for high prices compared to other Latin American countries. Be prepared for taxi drivers who, with a big smile, will try to get as many dollars as possible out of your pockets. However, the best way to get to the accommodation is to have a taxi take you there. The roads are good, the air is pleasant. Enjoy looking out the window. You've landed on Punta Cana, you're in the Caribbean, relax.
Sorry about this, my AI commentator wants to say Punta Cana, not Punta. On our way, the taxi driver was fair, professional and punctual. Yes, we live in tropical country, but in the Andes, in the mountains, not on a tropical island like this one. That's why our hearts danced with happiness.
You must know that staying in the Dominican Republic is an individual experience for everyone who is there. Being in a resort is completely different from staying in a private accommodation or workforce accommodation on this island. For some, the island is paradise, for others it's just a place to work. Although they call it a Caribbean paradise, it is certainly not for someone from Haiti who came here in search of a better life.
We left things in our accommodation, which we were very satisfied with. We immediately went to the short exploration of the streets and finding the sea. I missed the sea and I really wanted to breathe that salty air. Chocolatita, on the other hand, was looking for the food like always. Always hungry, but in the same time, always so damn hot and sexy. No, we have nothing against resorts. Not a single thing. We've been to them too. It's nice when you have everything at your fingerprints and you don't need to stress about anything. But we still prefer to travel this way, navigating a new country and exploring. We pass by many resorts, but we would only take a quick look at the door and continue our way.
The food is not as diverse as, for example, in Colombia where we live. Portions and restaurants are smaller and much more expensive than in other Latin American countries. If you don't have enough money, you won't get enough. The lunch they serve you is like an appetizer. You can choose where you will eat, a small restaurant on the road where locals eat, or exclusive restaurants for foreigners. There is also a shop option, where you can buy food and cook in your own accommodation. None of the three options are cheap. Get ready for it.
When I got the price list on the table, I thought that I was going to some kind of market to get food. For that money, I ate in Colombia 3 times. But Chocolatita took my hand and said with a beautiful smile, "Dear, we are on vacation."
The country is very colorful, lively, like all other Latin countries. On the street you are attacked by various sellers of everything. Souvenirs, clothes, magnets, art, fruits and vegetables, seafood. They even try hard to sell you something. All this says 2 things: either the locals are hungry for money or they live very badly on the island. Those looking for a sociable body can also find beautiful women on offer. Exotic beauty to which a single man cannot remain immune. Those who come to the island with women are told not to bring sand to the sandy beach. If you have a woman who looks like the local beauties here, then you are calm and you won't think nonsense. Punta Cana is the most visited part of the Dominican Republic. Lots of coconut palms, beautiful sunny weather and clear Caribbean Sea is enough to attract thousands and thousands of foreign tourists to this place. The coast is occupied by resorts, but the good thing is that the beach does not belong to anyone. There is always some kind of passage that leads you to the beach, and then you can freely move around all the other beaches, regardless of whether they belong to a resort or not. There are some kind of stupid buoys that limit you in swimming. It's not because of the sharks or the strong current, I don't think they care about that. It's because of the speedboats that always offer something. Pulling on a banana or parasailing, etc. However, you can always make a fool of yourself and swim on the other side of the buoys. The sea is even clearer and more beautiful there.
That's exactly what I did. I swam away from the shore, but immediately some aggressive local guy came with a speedboat and started shouting at me. I told him to f off, and he continued to swimming. And he told me with the aggressive tone, when he hit me with the speedboat, that is not gonna be his fault. I ignored him, continued swimming wherever I wanted.
Being on the beach is very pleasant because of the constant wind blowing from the sea. It's not too hot, and the temperature of the sea is just right to cool you down a bit. It's most pleasant when you go out wet in that wind. It's like a mini air conditioner that you carry on you. Those who have enough money can always eat or drink something on the beach. There is no lack of sellers, they are hard-working, but not like Egyptians or Brazilians. These still let you breathe and don't harass you. Sometimes it's enough to just nod your head that you don't want anything and they move on. I'm saying it's not like in Egypt or Brazil where they torture you for hours, make you leave the beach just to stop harassing you.
We combined beach pool. I felt like a typical German tourist with a mountain of money.
Who wants hedonism? This is the right place for him. Rent private accommodation in a condominium with a swimming pool. When you get tired of the beach, retreat behind your walls and enjoy the privacy of the pool and palm trees. A perfect place to relax, get away from stress and work. One could have a quality life here. I believe that there are a lot of foreigners who have permanently settled in the Dominican Republic. The nights are pleasant for sleeping, although you need to cool the room with an air conditioner if there is no wind. If it is blowing from the sea, it is enough to open the windows and you have excellent conditions for a good night's sleep. There are not too many mosquitoes, although it is good to have nets at the openings of the house. Walking the streets at night is completely safe throughout the country. In the capital they say that there are neighborhoods where it is not safe, but that refers to thieves and not to rapists and murderers. Here in Punta Cana it is safe to walk at night, although the dimly lit streets give the impression that it is not safe, it only deceives you. Of course there are always annoying salesmen, that electric wires are prone to burning and throwing sparks, but if you are threatened by some other danger, which is the case in many Latin American countries, no. This almost does not exist in the Dominican Republic. In Brazilian favelas or Argentinian bishas, also in big cities of Colombia, Mexico, Jamaica, etc. this is not possible to do. That's why this country is so attractive to tourists. Nobody wants to be in danger while walking the streets of cities. Here you can carelessly reminisce, sit by the sea, enjoy the beach listening to the waves and the wind. You can go to a restaurant and eat something, nobody will touch you.
We are not the type of the people who looks for the clubs, alcohol and parties. We even hate it, so I didn't record it for you. We prefer to sit on the beach and enjoy the sounds of the sea waves and the winded coconut palms. Sorry if you missed that part in this documentary, but simply it's not a part of our life.
What can happen to you is a sudden downpour that will wet you to the bare skin. However, it is so warm that even that is good for you. The Caribbean climate has occasional heavy rains, but not so much on this island. Here the rains are short and you have the impression that it is actually missing. It is good that the island has many rivers, so there is no shortage of fresh water.
My sweet chocolatita didn't want to get her hair wet, so it wouldn't get tangled. We wait for the downdrop to stop and then continue to wander the streets. Later, we look for something to eat because imagine, Choco was hungry again. We looked for the local dish, mofongo. It's interesting, but really nothing special.
If you don't like just lying on the beach and enjoying the sea, the island offers many excursions, such as dolphin watching, buggy driving, horse riding, sailing, water sports, trips to islands and places where various movies were filmed. Although I recommend staying on the beach and enjoying the white sand and coconut palms.
The beaches are very clean and constantly groomed. I wasn't looking for any additional excitement. It was more than enough for me to stay on the beach, sunbathe and swim. It suited to be lazy, relaxed and do nothing and not think about anything. I wanted to be a classic tourist and enjoy it.
I don't know where it's nicer to be, in the sea or on the sand. In the shade under the coconut palms or in the clear sea, to dive and enjoy exploring. Don't expect underwater riches here. It is very difficult to see even the tiniest fish on these beaches, for that you need to go on a trip where they will take you by boat to special places, coral reefs, underwater shoals and the like. You will not see any animals on these beaches. These are not Maldives after all.
Exactly that. Since I have traveled in similar areas where the sea are the same color but too rich with the fish, crabs, shell, corals and other wonders of the sea, I was a little disappointed here. I kept diving on the bottom, but I didn't see even the smallest fish. Nothing. Just a sandy bottom and lots of boredom. Maybe there are places where you will be amazed, but the place where I dived and swam has absolutely nothing. The first time in my life I was bored in a tropical sea.
I watched the tourists on the beach and the two of us and the locals. Chocolatita looks like a local, while I look like a foreigner. I used to look like a lion, now I'm like a cross between a giraffe and a crocodile who likes to eat roast lamb. With age, the will to train stops. That happened to me too. I'm still fighting with myself, but the good life is catching up with me. It is very good that you can wander freely along the entire coast. Explore the beaches, each one is the same and yet different. It is interesting to observe people. There is a clear difference between locals and guests. It's ugly to say, but poverty keeps people beautiful and handsome, at least on this island. Look at those who serve, they are all chocolate, well-built, young and old, they are muscular, with raised buttocks and nice breasts. You look at those who are on vacation from the other side, they look measured, relaxed, like hybrids of seals and whales with a big appetite for Italian food. This is a statement without the intention to offend anyone, but that's how it is on these beaches. Of course, on other parts of this crazy planet of ours, you can see a completely opposite picture. The rich are polished, well-groomed and beautiful, and the poor are abandoned, neglected and tortured.
You know, this is a reality. The locals, when you look at them, they are very handsome. The women are very beautiful, and the men are muscular and in good shape. Unlikely, 90% of tourists who have flabby bodies, regardless of whether they are skinny or fat. The signs of the good life you can see on those bodies.
For those who are more active, Punta Cana can be boring. It is enough to stay 2 days to get bored if you want something more from your vacation. However, take a bus or taxi a little outside of it and you can find very interesting things. The capital itself is not too far, and for those who want adrenaline, you can fly to Haiti. I don't recommend it, but it's a tough show there.
I'm always saying that in most cases, the poor and the extremely rich are looking good. Those in the middle, simply, they don't like to train, but they like to eat. Lack of discipline. You know, it's enough for me to let Chocolatita walk in front of me. I don't need a better view than that. While she looks around the shops with the goods and souvenirs, I look at her curves. It is a blessing to have a beautiful wife who is more beautiful than the other woman in the world. It gives you peace and you don't think of stupid things. I know. If by some chance I were to marry some kind of Godzilla, I would certainly do something stupid.
The drive towards Santo Domingo, the capital, is interesting. There is a view of the rivers and the rocky coast. The roads are in good condition so that driving is pleasant.
Sorry about that. Sorry for the bit of Croatian you heard. I stopped here to record the spray. You know, spray from the rocks. I saw it from the car and I immediately had to get out. This is done by the waves that penetrate under the rocks and force the sea out through the openings. I saw it before, but it's the first time that I managed to film it.
I recommend that you go without a tourist guide. These people do not close their mouths during the entire journey. They are trying to make money and I appreciate that, but some know how to do it well and some don't, some want to listen to information and some don't. If you are one of those who can't stand tourist guides, I advise you to rent a car and stay on the road. What you must see in the capital are the underground lagoons. It's a classic tourist attraction, but it's worth taking the time to visit them. Like the ones you have in Mexico, these here are just as beautiful and spectacular. Each one has its own history and story and it is very nice to walk through these labyrinths, in the shade and enjoy the crystal clear water of the lagoon. Dominican cenotes.
Cenote. Just like in Mexico. This was the first place we wanted to visit in Santo Domingo. Very nice place. But with too many tourists, I gotta say. Tourist guides. Oh god. Those guys, they don't shut the mouth. Not for the moment. I don't like that. I never liked them. I just can't stand them. I don't like the I don't like it when somebody or someone fills my head with the information I don't want to hear. I prefer to research and find out on my own, to enjoy silence, listening to nature. That's what I like. I don't need some guy who will talk too much on my ear and fill my head with the information that I want to know. I like to research information after everything I see, if I'm interested to find out more. I prefer listening to nature because nature, it's enough itself. Maybe it's not right, but I like that way, on that way, and that's it.
To my great pleasure, swimming is prohibited. This beauty would be badly damaged if a large group of silly tourists were frolicking in them now. Imagine the noise made by the mob entering the cold lagoon. Imagine the color when the sediment is lifted from the bottom. Some things are much better left as they are and protected from human influence. Most people don't know how to behave in places like this, so a ban is the best solution.
Oh my God, I still remember our tour guide. He looked like fat drunk Pancho Villa, sorry about that, but that is true. Fat drunk Pancho Villa. With the voice of a cowboy who washes the dust from his throat with tequila. Something like that. He was loud and constantly demanding attention. If he saw that you were not interested, he would try even harder to win you over by asking you countless questions. No, he didn't get a tip from me. I really liked that bathing was forbidden. Too many people entered those cenotes. Imagine the amount of sweat, saliva, urine and other things that people drop when they're entering the water. It will be permanently destroy this beautiful place. The wise men say there are only two types of people on this planet. Those who pee under the shower and those who lie about not peeing under the shower.
There are several separate lagoons, or ponds. They are all equally beautiful. Stairs with fences lead from one lagoon to another, everything is nicely organized, the only problem is that there are many tourist guides that close its mouth, and this place is ideal for silence. The local Indians certainly know very well how to respect such places.
On this part of the caves had a small raft that will take you about 30 meters deeper. No, not for us. We didn't feel like waiting in line, so we skip it.
Dama's Lake is special because only women could bathe in it, fully clothed. The locals say that there was a ritual bathing and even a sacrifice, but who can know today what is the truth and what is an inflated story?
Today, that feminist movement is very distorted. I think feminism is very good. Let women and men have the same rights to everything. I am always for that. But this modern feminism is not that. It has become a race with the man, hating the man, and similar things. The original idea of feminism has become completely distorted, and I don't like it. I don't like in what direction it's going. Witches are good and have always been good, even we are told they are evil. They healed the people and did not do evil. Modern feminism tends to make witches evil. Don't do it.
I don't know if it's feminism or some women's movement, but most women move there. They touch the water, try to feel the energy of those former swimmers. Somehow, female visitors stay there the most.
The mere sight on this crystal clear water is enough to remove negative thoughts. Many people should come to this place, sit down and think for themselves. I believe the local natives did exactly that in this place.
Santo Domingo is the capital of the Dominican Republic. Its official name is Santo Domingo de Guzman. The most populous city in the Caribbean, it has a little over 1 million inhabitants. It is located at the wide mouth of the Ozama River, which is deep and makes a perfect port. The city was founded by Bartolomeo, brother of Christopher Columbus. This city is considered the oldest city of Europeans outside of Europe. It was built in a classic colonial style. It houses the oldest cathedral outside of Europe, or rather the oldest cathedral of the New World. A classic big city, crowds on the streets, policemen at intersections and the gates of Chinatown. The world phenomenon is that every big city has a Chinatown. I don't know if it's a fashion or some kind of silent invasion. And even in the heart of the Caribbean there is a Chinatown. Why? One of the attractions is the view of the yellow presidential palace. I don't know what is interesting to the people there, maybe armed guards who have the attitude of a special unit, however, it would be good to know how much news there is. Maybe they are, what they have is a serious face and a dark look.
I observed the guards on the gate. They were serious. They gave you the impression of the dangerous types. They have good weapons and equipment, I can say that. However, to be at the door of the presidential palace, you don't need to undergo any special training. However, I like their attitude.
The old, colonial part of the city is really beautiful, but nothing you won't see in Cuba, Colombia, Mexico, or Panama. Sometimes you get the impression that the more you travel, the more repetitions you have. For example, you go to Panama, and it's the same all the way to Mexico, even though they are a dozen different countries. However, an experienced traveler notices small differences and that makes him happy. It's the same with these colonial parts of the cities, they are all similar, but again completely different. That's exactly the magic of travel.
This place, for example, is the oldest hospital in the New World. It was built by the Spanish, together with the cathedral, when they built the city. I always wondered what this island would look like if white people never came to it.
What is interesting in places like this is the art. Whether it was paintings by unknown or well-known painters, statues or decoration of external or internal spaces. Flowers, gardens, balconies, roofs, all that together creates that magic of diversity. What would this world be without art? I don't even want to imagine him like that.
We continue to walk the streets and enjoy ourselves. Choco was hungry again, and I wanted to jump into the ocean, into the sea somewhere. Of course, we had to eat something first, and there are seas anywhere around us. So, priority is priority, because the stomach of my beautiful wife cannot wait. All those streets of the old part of the city remind me of the streets of Cartagena in Colombia, for example, or all part of Panama City, Ciudad de Panama. Maybe also parts of the streets in Cuba, in Havana. Mostly, they all remind me of the seen parts of Latin America before.
The city has a soul, it has its charm that is worth seeing. Walk the streets relaxed, stop in a restaurant and eat something local. Book cuisine, like most Latin cuisine, is based on rice and beans. Variations on a theme, but all delicious.
You know, from Mexico to Chile, almost all countries eat rice and beans. I lived in Costa Rica for a long time, and the main dish there is gallo pinto. In my opinion, the best version of rice and beans. It was joined very well by a portion of rice and beans from Belize. That is a second place for sure. That's what I'm talking about. About the beauty of traveling. Everything is very similar and yet completely different. Gallo pinto is the best version of rice and beans, for sure.
Although the city is quite large and its colonial core is large, you can walk through the entire center with a few short breaks. It takes you slowly all the way to the mouth of the river. There are museums and old walls that are also interesting.
Here, I ran into the chubby girl in a pink dress. She looked like a plump fairy from the fairy tale. I looked at her and marveled the sight. There was photographers all around who took pictures of her from 100 angles. Maybe she's a model. Doesn't look that way, but you never know. I looked at Chocolatita, who laughed at me and said, "She turned 16 today. It is normal to celebrate Latin America. She turns from the girl into the woman." For me it's absurd custom, but I respect it. Okay, we can continue to walk through the streets of Santo Domingo. Now that we know the old part of the city, we can switch to the new and the modern part. And that was a joke, of course. We will not move there because there is nothing interesting to record and see. There is nothing. Let's stay a little bit longer in the old part. In the cities or settlements, you can find many statues, people and animals. When it comes to people, it's always politicians, generals, priests, or something similar. Why aren't there so many statues of workers, fishermen, or heroes? Why there is not so many statues of women? Is that fair? Not to me. When you find a statue of a fisherman, for example, then it's nameless, like one statue for all fishermen. That's cool, but not fair. Our world is amazing. I think there are more statues of horses around the globe than statues of workers. This part of the old city has old fortress and walls, museums, art on the streets, and a view of the river. It is very beautiful part for me, full of curious tourists, that's a bad thing, but it's definitely worth seeing.
For all those who love antiques, infrastructure, this is El Dorado. In these streets you can look and find new things for days. Luckily, there are people who don't care too much, so they just go through the city without stopping too much. The streets are hot, the air is tropical, and it's good to rest and drink some water sometimes.
This is a pure example of how a city square can be decorated with a beautiful statue. Pool that clearly resembles those who built the city. Españoles, Spain's, bullfights, corrida, strength and courage. All those things, just one look on this beautiful bull represents. After those cannons that reminds me of senseless wars through the history, my eyes caught a beautiful black woman on the walls. Oh, well, that was my wife. Her mind wandered off somewhere, maybe meditating for a while, or just enjoying the view of the river. I looked at her and I thought, what a lucky bastard I am. Again I came across a square with a statue in the middle. I didn't even look who it was. I only know that I noticed how he was dressed. I am very glad I didn't live in that time. I would probably walk around totally naked because these outfits look ridiculous to me. That's all I can say. Christmas trees in the tropical countries. I feel like I wanna laugh. In my opinion, it has nothing to do with it. A Christmas tree with the snow on its branches. What does have to do with the tropical climate? Please decorate the banana trees or palm trees, something like that, if you need to decorate something. I don't believe that the natives of the region put up Christmas trees in their settlements. No way. Imagine Santa Claus landing in the village of the natives and bringing them gifts. I don't think so. We listened to the street musicians, watched the city moments, bought a few souvenirs, behaved like a real tourist, which we were at this moment. I went to the so-called dangerous neighborhood, and I can tell you, that is not dangerous neighborhood. We had a good time and decided that we had enough of the city and it would be nice to go back to the beach.
There is that one as a dangerous neighborhood. Believe me, it is not a dangerous neighborhood. You might come across a thief, but there are no murderers. There are no weapons, so there is no real danger. He has that reputation because he is dangerous for their concepts. The exit from the city is across the river and along the estuary. Very quickly you reach the stone shore that heals the body and soul with its beauty. It's worth staying there and swimming, although they say there are a lot of sharks. Pancho Villa continued to speak. He tried even harder to get our attention, but he didn't succeed. He talked about the movies that were shot on the island. There were some good titles, like Apocalypse Today, Pirates of the Caribbean, Congo, etc. I believe it's not about him but about me. I'm a bitter character who is bothered by the normal job of a tourist guide. He didn't bother anyone but me, that's how it looked, even though no one laughed at his jokes. I tripped over my wife's ear and asked her what kind of tour guide she was. She said she would prefer not to have one. Yes, now I definitely know that we will not go on such trips anymore. The view of the sea is calming. The sea or ocean itself has a special energy. It is a connection with it that only those who were born at sea have, people who grew up by the sea, and it cannot be explained to someone who does not feel it. This stone coast is special. You have the feeling that the waves go under the rock, that they disappear into the bowels of the earth. You feel as if you are walking on a petrified surface.
I was born at the sea. I grew up at the sea. So being by the sea is something sacred to me. This coast is beautiful. Wherever you swim, jump off the rocks into the sea, or just listen to the waves or breathe the salty air. This place brings peace to the soul. We really enjoyed being in this place. The city is interesting, but the sea is the sea.
You can make a one-day trip to the capital. My recommendation is that everyone who wants to see the city should do it if they don't want to waste time on the beach. Those who get bored of the beach quickly, it is better for them to go to Santo Domingo for at least a few days to see it well. To get to know the island better, do some activities on it. Various options, various excursions are offered. Touristic and adventurous, with or without a tourist guide. You won't get lost. The island is not that big, although don't underestimate it. One of the excursions is driving a Mad Max car around the countryside. This is nothing spectacular, but it can cheer you up. A bumpy, dusty road, a crazy vehicle that is difficult to control, a beautiful beach, and at the end a cenote where you can swim. I recommend it to everyone.
We went to the interior of the island, drove through the coconut palms until we came to a place where a lot of simple vehicles were parked. It seems that this is a big business here, because in a short time we saw a lot of groups driving buggies and quads. A little bit later, a group of beautiful American black women passed by me. They were sending me kisses in a good mood. I thought, this trip can't be bad if it affects people like this. Later on, we took the helmets, chose a vehicle, and set off our little adventure.
La de dudoso. Uf.
Evo moja žena insistira da ona vozi, a ja da snimam. Neutro, revers. Vozi evo vidite, dolazi diska. The road was dusty and muddy. We raced as fast as the engine could stand. We looked at the poor people around us. That the poor people were looking at us and begging for money on the side of the road. I don't think anybody liked that. Apart from that, everything else was interesting. I've never done anything like this before. The sight of my wife's smiling face made me happy. She's happy here, and that is important for me. We rode in a group with Americans. The group of wacky Americans was very enjoyable. One of them was a black Barbie who lifted her ass off the seat several times and danced with something like the crazy butt dance in Jamaica. Choco rolled her eyes. I laughed. I didn't mind at all.
No, es el Rasta, ¿no? Vámonos. Dame la mochila.
Halfway through this adventure you come to an isolated beach that is very beautiful. There you have some time to swim, drink coconuts and rest. Actually a great break between two rides because people with horses also come to the same beach.
En esta travesía lenta, bajo el cielo de estrella, busco un rayo de luna, la noche se vuelve como un eco que llama, me susurra.
Diga algo, no.
No me acuerdo la palabra, me gusta pero no me acuerdo. Upit.
Playa Macau, or Macau Beach, was the place almost without tourists. Everyone who bathed here on this beach was passing by like us. They would come with vehicles, take a break, drink coconut water, and bath in a beach with the big waves. It is a pity that we couldn't stay a little bit longer, because this is the closest to paradise that you can be.
Los recuerdos me abrazan, cuentos que son divinos. El viento me hace danzar.
Oh yeah, we got back behind the wheel again. I wanted Choco to drive, but she still didn't want to. We went back the same way. That was a little disappointing for me, because I was hoping that we would make some kind of circle to see something different, but doesn't matter. This was cool too. You know, the black woman in front of us danced again. With her big round buttocks, she started to make those funny moves, and she gave us that show a couple of times during the ride. It was obvious that she has a lot of fun, and we behind her as well.
Near the end of this adventure, you come to a place where there is an underground lake. Something like cenotes in Mexico, but this lake is in the dark. You enter the cave by steep steps and there you bathe in fresh water. The experience is very good if you don't suffer from claustrophobia. It is very nice to dive to the bottom of a cave where minimal light enters. I definitely recommend it.
You know, first look is not so funny. People end up like in tape, and that is not something that you want to remember. But just thus, and others have the right to dip in the underground waters. I wasn't sure if Choco would want to take a bath, but how so? I wanted her to have those adventurous experiences. To my surprise, she entered in the dark water without any problem. She held on my shoulders, but she entered. We swam for a while. Freshened a little bit. There were no more people and we could really enjoy ourselves. It was late and the group seems to stop arriving. To be honest with you, we were sorry to leave this place. It was so cool to take a bath over there. ¡Ja! ¡Chocolatosa! ¡Chocolatosa, vos y Paqui!
I organized this trip so that I could see my wife smiling. It's not the kind of trip I like, it was too touristy for my taste, but I wanted to make it so that we were stress-free and completely relaxed. I decided on the Dominican Republic precisely because of that, the Caribbean, palm trees, white sand and beautiful sea. It was the first country to open its borders in an age of global madness. This country has turned everything to tourism and is doing it very well. If you want to rest, I definitely recommend it. Enjoy.
República Dominicana.
Chocolatita decided to drive. I was extremely happy about that. Watching her relaxed and enjoying those little adventures was a food for my soul. She works a lot, stress a lot, constant struggle. She deserved this kind of vacation. We both deserve it. It's time to go back to our place, swim in the pool and continue enjoying the beach.
Ay, chiquitán, ala, chiquitán.
En esta travesía lenta, bajo el cielo de estrella, busco un rayo de luna. La noche se vuelve como un eco que llama. Me susurra lo que anhelo, sueño flotan en el viento, luz por senderos, buscando lo que me aferra. Esta historia que resuena dibuja sombra en el suelo. Adiós. Rutina, me pierdo en los cielos, volver resona, cruzan caminos, los recuerdos me abrazan, cuentos que son divinos. El viento me hace danzar, bailando en soledad. En esta travesía lenta, bajo el cielo de estrella, busco un rayo de luna. La noche se vuelve como un eco que llama. Me susurra lo que anhelo, sueño flotan en el
What we did until the end of our stay in the beautiful country. It was eat well, make love, rest, swim in the pool, swim in the ocean, drink coconut water, and simply not think about outside world. Vacation in a place that is perfect for this type of vacation. For all of you, who want to get a beautiful skin color, enjoy Caribbean, we recommend any place in Dominican Republic. We can only tell you from our experience. Go for it.
Cruzan mares y caminos, los recuerdos me abrazan, cuentos que son divinos. El viento me hace danzar, bailando en soledad. En esta travesía lenta, bajo el cielo de estrella, busco un rayo de luna. La noche se vuelve como un eco que llama, me susurra lo que anhelo, sueño flotan en el viento, luz tenue que me envuelve caminando por senderos, buscando lo que me aferra. Esta historia que resuena dibuja sombras